this gives such a bad impact because the usage of term pelakor nowadays are not used as it should be. Okay. Um, what what is the problem here? We see that this term of pelakor nowadays are used more than just how to call someone who actually took someone husband or partner, but rather to stereotyping some woman who use bold makeup and draw straight eyebrow. Why we say like this? First, there is a stereotype in this. Uh, there's this stereotype in the society that someone who actually use like bold makeup and red lips and draw like a straight eyebrow is being called as a pelakor. Why? Because now mostly the society portray this pelakor who such like a sassy girl who stole someone partner, like use bold makeup, eyebrows, and red lip, and this is actually really bad for the woman, because the term of pelakor is really giving back bad impact to woman, even if it's not even if it's actually not that exclusive to women, but also men can also be called as pelakor, but it is not a common issue in our conservative society. So mostly the one that getting affected by this is woman, and and what happened when this misuse of term pelakor keep happen in our society? It will the society will portray women in a bad way. um we will compare the harm and benefit that happen in said proposition. uh, this usage of term pelakor is actually really bad for the woman, because first it stereotype woman, and second it portray woman in a bad way. Firstly, stereotype woman. We're gonna say that I already tell you that how society portray pelakor is, they portray this pelakor as someone who use bold makeup, straight eyebrows, and use red lips, and we see that nowadays people are thinking that way of how pelakor should look. uh, yeah, you see that there's a lot of case in the society that when someone who actually an affair, but she does not look like one, but she's kind of look like innocent, or like she look like such a religious person. Some people won't believe that she is actually an affair of someone, but people tend to actually really people tend to actually think this pelakor as a girl who actually sassy. Like you see that now in the video that went viral this week about that flight attendant. And there's a lot of comment there's a lot of comment in the comment section that, oh, just look at the way she walked. It actually portray how a pelakor should look like. And we see that this is so really helpful, because first we cannot actually portray how a pelakor look like, right? Every kind of woman, every kind of man can also be a pelakor, but the society portray this pelakor as like such a girl with use bold makeup, straight eyebrows, red lips, even if it's her choice. But the society goes like, oh, she looks like an in Indonesia tante, so she might be a pelakor and she must be one. And we think that is really bad, because it makes a stereotype in the society that say this woman that looks like that use the makeup like that use that use some kind like a sexy clothes is actually a pelakor, even when it's not. And why is this happen? Because we see that a lot like the girl that actually a pelakor is uh, uh is some of them that some of them is actually look like that, but the other part of them is don't actually look like that. And the society tend to portray this pelakor in the way that the woman that use bold makeup and such, and we see it's really bad, because when a woman uh, when a woman use like this kind of makeup, she would be uncomfortable, because people think that, oh, she must be um she must be the girl that might steal my man. So because she dress how she dress and how she wear her makeup is a look like a pelakor, and she must be a pelakor, and that is really bad way to that is really giving bad impact to the woman. And second, it portray woman in a bad way. We say that the usage of this term pelakor is actually portraying the woman the bad way, because we know that the society tend to put the fault into the woman rather than the man. actually in the relationship, the uh in a relationship, to both sides, the man and actually the woman have the same weight of mistake, but the society put this all the mistake to the woman because, oh, because she she looks sexy, that's why the man would look to her, that's why the man falling into her, and because of that, it really portray women in such a bad way that we are someone who want to steal other men when we dress like what kind of clothes that we want. But there's never such a term. And why is this bad? Because there's never such a term to call a man who's have an affair, and we say that is such a bad portrait to women from the society about how bad women are. But society never portray that man the same way as they portray women, and it is actually downgraded the woman because with this usage, with this term of pelakor, people think that woman is actually the the one that do all the bad things. Meanwhile, the man just like caught up in her charisma, in her aura. But when actually both of sides is wrong. But society tend to portray the woman more bad because this usage of term pelakor, and but they never portray the man the same way as they portray this woman. So by that, we think that it is actually bad for this for the woman because it is downgrading the woman. It is downgrading, and we see that it is really a bad way to portray woman because we know that even if this term is not exclusive to women, but the common issue that happen in our society is that this pelakor term is used for women, and by that we think it is actually bad. And even if this term giving us benefit, like the opposition team might say that when this term exists, it will give social punishment because this nickname will stick to them for the rest of their life. And we say yes, it is right that this nickname give social punishment because why? When someone do this, when someone like steal someone, one man, and she being called pelakor, everyone will know that she is actually a pelakor, and it will stick to them, and it will give social punishment because people will, oh my god, you steal other people, man, you are a really bad person, and it will giving social punishment to them. But we say that this benefit is not worth the harm that will given to that are given to the woman society, because first it stereotype the woman, and second it portray woman in a bad way, and third it downgrading the woman. And by that, we demand opposition to explain for us first how even if this usage of term pelakor exists, it will not downgrading and portraying woman in a bad way. And by that, we are back to propose.
I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Panels. Side propositions fail to explain to us why it is actually harming directly to the individuals. The side propositions only say that it is bad, and while also not giving a clear explanation on why it is actually bad and the direct harms that it produced to the individuals. Points of rebuttals towards the side propositions. Side propositions uh, somehow say that how Pelakor is seen in the society. They said that the society is seeing Pelakor as someone who are using red lips, looking like tante tante, for example, or using a sexy dress, for example. Panos, this is not what is the social seeing Pelakor as. They are misunderstood the difference between a whore and a pelakor, the difference between these prostitutes and the pelakor, on what they portrayed as how society see pelakor as in the current status quo is mistaken on how society is seeing the prostitutes or the sluts, where it is a taboo thing in our society. So we believe that the depictions that they brought on how society see this Pelakor in this within the status quo is totally false. Panels. Onto my speech. I will explain to you on why is this term is actually justified. Panels, you see on the victims. In this case, the victims is the one who get cheated on, and you see that the feeling that the victim feels is so bad. The victims, the feeling of the victims that the victim felt is so severe. And what happened to the victim? So what happened to the victim if they actually get cheated is that what happened to the victim is also getting a social stigma from from the surroundings. You see on how the people in the society will see that the victim is are someone who are, you know, who someone who's weak, for example, or someone who can't keep their significant others. They see on how the society are seeing this victim as someone who are weak enough to be cheated. And so this means that the victim also will also get the social punishment, will also get the social stigma, and when this case happened, when this Pelakor thing happened. And so what happened if the term comes into the perpetrator is that you see, as what the site proposition said, that this term will give the perpetrator a social punishment, and that is what we're seeing in today's debate. And because okay, there are policies regarding of this case. There's court to take care of this, to take care of this whole scenario. But you see that, as I mentioned before, that the victim is also also got a social punishment. And and so that this kind of policies or this court is not enough to actually give justice to the victim, because we see that the victim is also getting a lot of social stigma within the society. And so we believe that this term will actually give justice, because on what happened is that the perpetrator are also get the social stigma, the social punishment on how people see them as someone who is irrational, which is true, which is, you can't, you know, on how can you are you're taking someone else's fiances, for example. How can you take someone else's uh, husband, for example? You see that this social stigma happened because of reasons, right? and and so that not only that it gives justice to the victim by also having the same social stigma, having also having a social punishment as what the victim also get. It is, and we also believe that the the trample accord happened because of reasons, as I mentioned before, on how you dare to take someone else's fiancés, take someone else's husband. You see that this is actually irrational, uh, uh, and these people who get this social punishment to uh, deserve to get this this title as Pelakor. We see that this is not a long term. This is not a long-term title. On how we don't see on any real life example on how a certain people who are entitled with Pelakor will always be remembered as Pelakor. You see that these people who are entitled or who are being called as Pelakor will only last will only last for a certain time. It is a temporary title that we believe that this is not that harmful for the victims, but what we believe is that it will actually give justice to to the to the uh to, to the victims that is getting cheated on. We believe that the term Pelakor will not harm them, even in your side when people will not use this term, and Pelakor will not have and Pelakor will not have this social punishment. They don't get some sort of this social punishment. Not only that, it will not give injustice to the victim. It can actually be it can actually be a chance for them to as we see that within the status quo, there's actually a lot of people who are taking another people's husband, another people's fiance, just to get their money, for example. You see on what with this social punishment being abandoned, this social punishment being abolished in the society, what happened is that they can actually keep doing the same thing in order to get the money, for example. And so that is why we believe this term is actually a justified thing to do. And not only it is justified, it will actually give justice to the victim, as what we believe under our side is that the victim will also get the social punishment within the society. And also we believe that this term is actually preventing this kind of this under our side, we're actually preventing this pelakor to actually do the same thing, to do the same thing over and over again in the future. For example, that this kind of pelakor who has a bad intention, that they want you to take these husbands, these fiancés monies, for example. This will not happen under side oppositions. Very proud to oppose.
Oke, thank you. Langsung kita panggil pembicara kedua dari tim pemerintah, bisakah?
Okay, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay, give me a second. If you guys want to appear, I just unmute yourself. Okay, I will start my speech in 3, 2. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to recognize that from the very, very beginning of this debate, we already told to you guys that this term of pelakor have been misused in our society, despite the really, really bad impact that can be given to the people that get judged as a pelakor. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we as the government side of team, we also want the situation where there is a harmonic family that happens in our society. But we need to recognize that the idea we regret as the government side of them that is we regret the idea of a term of pelakor that have been misused by our society to judging a woman in our society. Ladies and gentlemen, the opposition side of them have 2 points on their early debate, on their early speech. And that's why I have 2 rebuttals from the first speaker of the opposition side of them. First, ladies and gentlemen, the opposition side of them talk to us that this victim will get privilege. This victim will get also get social punishment, or will also get impacted because they are the one who get cheated. But we, as the government staff team, we believe that this victim will not get um, any bad impact for them, but rather than that, this victim will more likely to get privilege, because we can see let's see the evidence. The last booming the last booming evidence that happened is when there are a media portraying someone as a pelakor. This victim get more care from society to them, because society believe that this victim is the one who are should be get protected or should be get care from the society. So therefore, we believe this victim will not get any bad impact because of from the society to them. And also, the opposition side of them thought that this portrait from society, or this portrait as a pelakor will not be long last, or will not long last and can be forgetting by society. But we, as the government side of them, we truly believe when someone get portrayed as a pelakor from society, it will giving a big impact from this person, and also this portrait will long last on their on their personal life, ladies and gentlemen. Because when we get portrayed, we get a big impact and bad impact, especially we get portrayed as a pelakor, ladies and gentlemen. So therefore, the argument of the opposition side of team should be abandoned. Going to my argument, I have 2 arguments on my debate. First, why this term is bring us more harm rather than benefit. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to recognize that we have been told before that this pelakor has been misused by our society. And we also need to recognize that we are human and we are a social people. That
Information,
we
sir.
no, we need other people's in our life. Um, that's why that's why from we are kids we always get being taught that we need to giving a good impression to others, we need to giving a good impact for others because of what, because we need to get a good portrait from society, therefore it will giving a good impact into our life. But ladies and gentlemen, when we using this term of pelakor and we give it to somebody, it will literally giving a big harm for them because of what? First, when these people get portrayed as a pelakor, people will tend to um, miss will look down to them, and also this person that get judged as pelakor, it will more likely to will have to
Information,
going
sir.
to no going to taking any jobs or taking any things that this person can get if he not get portrayed as a pelakor. And also, ladies and gentlemen, we also need to recognize that relationship will not be happen if there are only one person who are trying to achieve that, ladies and gentlemen. So therefore, we are talking that if the benefit and the goal that opposition team want to achieve, that they want, there is a harmonic family in our society. This term of pelakor will not achieve their benefit, and this term of pelakor will also not achieve their ben- uh, their their goal, ladies and gentlemen. And also going to my second argument, ladies and gentlemen, we in our society, in our status quo, we have an equality gender, right? Because of what? Because of one of those reasons why this inequality gender happen, because of this usage of temple alcohol. Because because in our status quo, this term of pelakor get being used by people that are really easy to use. Like in social media, people just type in the comment that, oh, she's a pelakor, and then without knowing the impact they are giving to their person, without knowing that maybe their comment will can um, making this person really depressed, or in other extreme case, this person can be suicide. And also, ladies and gentlemen, we need no, we need to know that this term of pelakor is not just impacted the person that get judged as a pelakor itself. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to recognize that this portray will also impacted their family because of what? Because when we are a member of the family, when we got portrayed as a pelakor, therefore our family will be get judged and get portrayed, and also get portrayed from society that, oh, her parents maybe the one who are not cannot give a good education to their kids, and also and this will make their family is hard to living in our society. And also remember, ladies and gentlemen, when we tend to portray someone bad, when we literally um, often to portray someone as a bad person, there is more likely this person will be going as a bad person, even if from the beginning of the her life, maybe she is not the one who are bad person, but when she get portrayed as a bad person or as a pelakor in a society, it will be more likely making this person get impacted and being a bad person. Thank you very much.
Oke, thank you. Sekarang ke pembicara kedua oposisi ya.
Okay, Kak. Wait ya, Kak. Let me set my timer first. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. I'm going to start my speech in three, two, one. Homewreckers don't care if they wreck a relationship, and they don't even care if they hurt you or your family. They don't even care about anyone or anyone else's happiness. What they only care about is only themselves and their own happiness. Panels under side proposition, it is clearly visible that they are blurred by the fact of these what these placards have done to the society and what they have already impacted towards the society in the very first place. I'm going to give you two responses towards side opposition's argument regarding what they have already talked to you in their previous speeches. Firstly, is how they said to you that basically these terms of placor is basically being misused. But panels notice here that they never explain to you how these terms are actually being misused. They only say that, oh, it is being misused by the society, then therefore it could impact the society and making them look bad inside of the society because they don't actually get the terms and I don't know, etc. What they've already explained to you in the very first place. We think that it is a very clear and little evidence of their notion didn't actually under um, comprehending these kinds of things in the very first place because they didn't really never explain to you how it's actually being misused. Secondly, is that how they said to you that basically regretting these kinds of terms in the very first place will give them good impact. Sir, what are the good impacts that you actually means in the very first place? Because you only say good impact and good impact, but you never actually elaborated and explained those good impacts in the very first place and how it will necessarily impact the victim and will make the victim being shined in the society. We say under side opposition's case, it is very, very, um very visible that they don't understand what this motion wants in the very first place because they only put the metrics onto how they would necessarily portray women on only the bad side. They never actually explain to you how it will impact the society and how it will impact individuals that got cheated on by these placards in the very first place. They only tell to you that these placards are, sassy, being rat-lipped and like tante-tante, for example. But later I will elaborate it in my substantive. Okay, moving on to my substantive. I don't really understand what the side opposition is trying to prove and trying to explain here, but we see that side opposition, side proposition is fairly clearly doesn't understand what they want to prove in the status quo and towards how these mass media will affect these people in the very first place. We say that the mass media don't only affect their career. There are some examples such as let's take an example such as Jennifer Dune, for example. Even if Jennifer Dune is being called such as Pelakor, look at her career now. She still got her career even if she's already being labeled as Pelakor. But that is not our main point. Moving on to my substantive, I'm going to prove to you 2 points in this debate on how basically why we don't regret the usage of this term, of the Pelakor terms into the society. Why is this true? And why is this important in the very first place? Sir, notice that if the usage of the term pelakor itself means something towards the pelakor, what is the meaning? It deters them. So what is going to happen if it's going to deter them, sir? Mind you that these homewreckers, these pelakors, are someone that is already taking someone else's happiness. We see that if we're giving these kinds of so, um,
the term to call them by saying them pelakor, like what the prime minister have already told you about necessarily how she agreed to us that the social punishment that we will give will necessarily, affect these victims, these pelakors, then that means that side proposition agrees to us in the very first place that they agree that they don't even that they don't regret these kinds of usage in the very first place, because these terms of the term itself was meant as a social punishment for these victims that have already took someone else's husband. For example, if you really took someone else's husband and or you like cheat with like someone else's husband, then the stigma that is happening inside of the society, the social stigma that is being stigmatized to you, to these victims, are basically the one that is going to affect you in the very first place. And how is it going to affect them? How is it going to impact them in the very first place? Mind you, because the pelakor has already took the happiness out of the one that is already being cheated on, aka the one yang diselingkuhin, we see them that they have already took someone else's happiness. The social punishment that will give, the stigma that will give here, also do the equal same, also do the kinds of justice like what my first speaker have already told you in the first place. What are the justice? The justice are like these people, for example, if they want to seek for a job because they have already been stigmatized by these kinds of terms in the very first place, people will not would not consider them to place them into their job vacancy, for example, because they already do some misdeeds in the very first place. We see that these terms play a vital role on engaging how these people would act and how they will impact the society as a whole. Now, also engage within the case of side proposition, in which they told to you that they only care about the media and how these women are being portrayed as that. Samuel and Sophia, we think here that if these women are being characterized as that, we say that yes, it is true. Why is that so? Because they feel they already took someone else's husband, they took someone else's significant other. Then how would you say that these will portray them in in a bad way? It is already obvious that they took someone else's husband. It is already obvious that they misdid something. How could you say that they portray women in a very bad situation? We think that by fact what side proposition have already told you in the very first place is really not making any sense at this point. We say that if it will make them such a bad person in the very first place, then it will be matching and be balanced towards what they have done towards the victims of what they have already did, the ones that is being the women that already being stolen on from themselves, the one yang diselingkuhin in the very first place, for example. We say that if the regret is still being happened, it will deter them because in the very first place, it will ostracize the pelakors from the society. Therefore, the society will give them the social punishment and the stigma to keep them inside this bubble within where they couldn't engage within the society. It is going to make the one that is being diselingkuhin the justice that they want to seek in the very first place because they took their happiness out of their pocket for granted, for example. And that is why we believe under side opposition, not only we are only talking about how these portrayals of these pelakors are going to happen, we also care about the victims and diselingkuhin. Therefore, we give you a mutual intelligible kinds of perspective of why this should happen and why we should not regret these kinds of ideas in the very first place. That is why we as side opposition, we're very proud to oppose. I'm looking forward more towards other members of this debate. Thank you.
Thank you. Kita lanjut ke pembicara ketiga tim pemerintah ya.
Am I audible?
Yes, audible.
Am I audible? Okay. Let me bring up my stopwatch real quick. I'm gonna start my speech in 1, 2, 3. Ladies and gentlemen, we have already explained why this term is bad. It can induce portrayal of that the woman is the one wrong, or it can be very misused. And I will explain here why we win and why the enemy team's case should fall. First, our PM has already said that this pelakor term can be misused, like stereotyping women who dress differently from the normal standards. And what was the opposition's rebuttal? They say we didn't say how it's harmful to the woman, even though we clearly already said that the stigma is so bad it massively impacts someone's social life, even though it can be not their fault sometimes. So opposition, please listen to our speech. We know that the victims are experiencing mental trauma. We know that the victim who gets cheated on by their husband to another woman has mental trauma. But this does not justify the use of the term pelakor. Why? Why doesn't this justify? Why should their case fall? Because the perpetrator should get the social stigma? No. But sometimes, in some cases, they don't deserve this social stigma. This is why we should stop using the term pelakor and why your case is very frail, because the man can lie about not having a significant other. And whose fault is it now? Not the woman, because the man's the one who lied. He might have said that he didn't have a significant other. This woman didn't know. And so this woman does not deserve this social stigma. What do you mean it'll only last for a certain time? With the current condition where information can spread so easily, even if it's even if it's a short term, it can cause some serious, undeserved mental trauma. As I said before, it can be very much not the woman's fault. And of course, it can stay forever, okay? Have you guys heard of something called the a social media where you can browse everything for practically almost forever, okay? And even though people won't mention the case of someone being a pelakor after some time, they can and will avoid the person indirectly. They won't say that he's a pelakor or something, but they can say that they can just avoid the person indirectly. And this already badly impacts their social life. All right, second, RPM has said that this pelakor term will portray that woman is the one engaging to force or claim someone else's partner. Yes.
Could you please provide to us like another way for the ones that is being harmed by these pelakors to regain their justice and their happiness?
Okay, we can set another slang so that we can blame the woman as well. I'm gonna get into that.
Point of information, sir.
No, because the current problem right now is like the term pelakor is very one-sided to blame the woman. Okay, getting back. Second, RPM has said that this pelakor term will portray that woman is the one engaging to force or claim someone else's partner. And this is so wrong because romantic relationships will need both sides to agree. So it's not only the woman, and the impact is massive to the woman who receives this title, while the man is regarded as tainted, or the man is regarded as passive, as if he didn't engage in this wrong romantic relationship. This is so sexist because the man doesn't get punished or anything. They don't get the massive impact that a woman receives, and their side has never touched this and rebut this at all. And we need to solve this by removing the term pelakor, which is so one-sided. They say we never explain how it is being misused, even though we have so much time. Explaining why this is bad, such as using the term pelakor to mention aunts or women who dresses against the normal standard. This term, this pelakor term, are misused many times. You know, some people call other women call other women pelakor, even though they are not a pelakor. For example, some people can call a woman pelakor, as you see in a lot of YouTube comments or in a lot of social media comments, where someone could see a woman walk in a strange way or dress in a strange way, and they will say, oh my God, it's they're dressing with so much exposure of the skin. This guy must be a pelakor. This is such a misuse of the word. The word literally means that it's to steal someone else's husband
Information,
or
sir?
boyfriend. No, by force. And this is being misused so much time, and we think that this is very not right. We need to not use this term again on something that's not the definition of the term. Well, clearly, we regret the motion because the good impact is removing the bad impact. It will remove the fact that this word is so one-sided. It is so one-sided because pelakor, as it means, is perebut laki orang. So this word literally only considers one side, which is the woman, and the man doesn't really get a social stigma, even though he should also get a social stigma. This is so bad. It's so sexist. We should remove using this. And as you asked me how we will justify the victim that got cheated on, we can make another term which addresses both sides, the man and the woman. We can just call them tukang selingkuh or something, and it will also have the same impact. It will put a social stigma to these two people who engage in a romantic relationship that is wrong. No, and yeah, so we clearly regret the motion because the good impact is removing the bad impact, because there's a regret motion. Now, our DPM has said why this term brings more harm, because in the current situation, titling someone a pelakor will socially harm them so much, as we are social animals. We rely so much on social portrayal, and imagine being portrayed as a pelakor even though you don't deserve it. Such unjustly punishment. As I said before, the man can literally lie about not having a significant other, and this woman will engage in a relationship not knowing that this man has a significant other. So when you call someone a pelakor, this woman can just not deserve it at all. Okay? You mentioned something about Jennifer Dunn. Like, it's literally one example. Do you even know the other women who have received the social stigma and received major bad impacts to their social life? Please don't bring up one exceptional case, okay? Talk about the majority, okay? They say that the term pelakor will deter homewrecker. Why should this fall? Why should this case fall? We can deter them by other means, okay? We can call them, as I said before, we can call them tukang selingkuh or something. And the problem in this case is that the man never really gets portrayed as bad, okay? And calling them tukang selingkuh or a more non-sexist way will still deter this homewrecker while not being sexist or portraying the woman as bad, okay? By not using the term pelakor and using something more non-sexist, we can still deter this homewrecker to not homewreck, and we're not being sexist. We're not only portraying the woman by using the term pelakor, which is why we are proud to propose. Thank you.
Thank you. For the last speech, we call upon third speaker from opposition, yeah?
Okay, give me a second to set my timer. Okay, I'll start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Panels, stigma happens because of reasons. Pelakor got social punishment because of reasons, right? And that's why we're so proud to oppose today's motion. If I can prove to you why we're winning this debate principally and practically, then we of course winning points on this debate. Side proposition didn't give you principal points on why pelakor who cheated on someone's husband is justified or not. Side proposition also explained to you some shallow practical points that in my clashes today, I will prove to you why is it untrue and why our points, principle and practical, still standing still on the end of this debate, ladies and gentlemen. So on today's debate, I will bring you two clashes. First, which side have a more better principle points, and secondly, who protects individuals more, ladies and gentlemen. Moving to my first clash on whose side have better principle points. Okay, first I will first let me explain to you, who are you to destroy someone's relationship and just get away with it without some punishment? It is of course unjustified, and side government didn't even think about the victims that got hurt because of this Pelakor cheated on her husband, for example. Secondly, they said that it will affect the Pelakor out there, that their second speaker said that it will push them to do extreme things, for example, like suicide or being ashamed, for example. A, they give you an extreme cases where Pelakor did extreme things, that they said that this will make those Pelakor do suicide, they say. But this is more worse on your side, because if your side didn't have, if your side regret this use of Pelakor, then your side don't have social punishment or social deterrence for this Pelakor who cheated, who snatched out others' happiness in a relationship, ladies and gentlemen. Then B, they do not care about the victim at all that get cheated by the Pelakor. If you want to seek gender equality for the woman, then you should seek it to the wifes out there who got cheated by the Pelakor, who happiness got snatched out by these Pelakors, and your side didn't give any punishment to them, ladies and gentlemen. And my first speaker and second speaker only told to you why this is principally matter, because by doing this, you actually give freedom to those people who snatch your happiness in a relationship. You actually give freedom to those criminals. We believe that actually Pelakor now have it owns RO, right? So like it's labeled them as criminals, someone who is just house wreckers, and we believe that these reasons are enough to make Pelakor a bad stigma in society. We believe that this is actually good for them to give them deterrence, and this is why we believe that this is principally justified to seek them as Pelakor. But secondly, on my clash, who protects the individuals better, right? Okay, first, we provide deterrence in our side, like my first and second speakers said. Less household will be wrecked. Why? Because we believe that if we we still use this Pelakor term, then those Pelakor who actually snatch other people's happiness in a relationship, they will get a deterrence in their life, in a deterrence that will prevent those Pelakor to actually cheated on somebody's else partner, right, ladies and gentlemen? And this is good because we are actually protecting the victim by giving them justice and prevent other victims to be made in the future, right, ladies and gentlemen? But secondly, they talk about mental trauma that these Pelakor have. But what they didn't focus is the mental trauma that the victims have, ladies and gentlemen. Don't you think the victims also get mental trauma? And how the Pelakor will not get social punishment? Okay, say that they answer our POI, which they bring another point, a new point, that they have alternative by changing this Pelakor to another slang. So how, this is a funny claim, so how could you prove to us that by creating another slang, it will regain the justice towards the one that's being affected by this Pelakor, aka yang diselingkuhin? We believe that if this Pelakor slang is as harmful as they told to you, that another slang will not help them either, right, ladies and gentlemen? And this is why we believe this is a comparative points that coming from their side of the house, ladies and gentlemen. We believe that on our side, we also protecting not only protecting the victims who got cheated on mental trauma too, ladies and gentlemen. Because why? We give them the we provide them the usage term of Pelakor, so that they actually can tell their friends and use this term to brought in the court, so that they can seek justice, so that they can actually seek justice and not getting mental trauma on how this Pelakor only run off without any getting social punishment from the society, ladies and gentlemen. On your side, this Pelakor, these people who cheated on someone else's partner will actually do that. More and more in the future, ladies and gentlemen. Because why? In your side, there will no usage of the term Pelakor, as you regret it, right, ladies and gentlemen? Like, and this is why we believe, like my first and second speaker told to you, it is harmful and it will make another household wreck in the future, ladies and gentlemen. And then they also, thirdly, they also bring you an argument about why this term of Pelakor is sexist and only one-sided. Ladies and gentlemen, notice that when Pelakor is kepergok, meeting someone as husband, the husband also got ashamed and got verbally attacked, right, ladies and gentlemen? Not only the Pelakor. Notice that the points that they give to you, that the husband will not punish or will not feel ashamed, is incorrect, because we believe in many cases, if the Pelakor is kepergok with the husband, or if you know that your husband is cheated with someone and labeled them as Pelakor, you of course going to be mad at your husband, right? Your husband will be, of course, be ashamed, for example, neither the Pelakor as well, ladies and gentlemen. And this is why we believe that their side opinions about this being sexist or one-sided isn't true, because we believe that the husband also get ashamed of the events, ladies and gentlemen. We prove to you on why we're winning in principally, and we prove to you why their practical methods and practical alternative about creating another slang isn't effective enough and isn't crucial for solving their problems, ladies and gentlemen. And this is why we're so proud to oppose to this debate. Thank you.
Oke, thank you. Ini untuk sekalian untuk mempersingkat waktu. Tadi aku udah bahas sama Bang, kalau kita mau pisah jadi dua Gmeets gitu ya. Jadi aku bakal buatin Gmeets baru buat buat tim Kalimantan Timur, terus nanti kita pindah ke sana ya. Thank you ya tim Jambi untuk sparring hari ini.
Okay, thank you everyone.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much,
everyone.
Jambi.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Everyone. Thank you, Jambi.
Thank you so much.